I'd like to read something to you. This was sent to me, and it was quite powerful, and I would like to share it. And since I personally like to hear and see the person who is sharing it, something, I'm doing it this way. And this was written by Ava Park. There was a young woman who shared tearfully that she is terrified of the coming war that will take over the world. As the decades go by for you or me, if you survive to be old, like me, you will recognize that women the world over have been living with wars for thousands and thousands of years. It was not always so, but it has been for a while. By the time you are my age, I am 70, and there are those who are listening who are much older and younger. You will no longer fear it. You will have gone through the phase of fury at the utter waste and stupidity of it. And then you'll slowly come to a place where you're just so tired of it. Tired of the wars against humanity. When men run the world, this can happen. Wars, violence, poverty, abuse, lack. Yes, it's true. And I hear this from many of my own apprentices and clients. There may be a world war. We women have seen it all before. Many will certainly die in the next war created. We talk about soldiers who die in wars, and that suffering and death is, of course, terrible and real and sorrowful. But the truth is that women and children and animals and the land are what suffer the most and the longest. But that suffering can be made invisible. Show me a war memorial to the children and to the women and the animals and the land who has suffered and died in these wars. Your fears are not at all unfounded, dear child and sister. In fact, as long as humanity continues with a dominator model system, the manifestation in this physical reality of your fear is no doubt very possible, perhaps inevitable. But have heart. Many of us may suffer, if not directly, then indirectly, through the poverty, fear, and destruction created by war. Some of our bodies may, yes, be killed, but the souls live on. Our souls live on. Our consciousness lives on and continues to influence life. So focus on what your consciousness is doing now to influence life for the good. And remember that women the world over have lived with countless wars on every continent. And in spite of that, as a collective, we women have managed to come through the horror, to rise and birth and build and fall in love anew. We women will always do so again. Because woman brings life. And that power is something that, to be blunt, men cannot do. They will never be able to crush us completely, for our life is too strong and our power for good is too beautiful. I invite you, go to the place inside of you, deep in your belly. Everyone listening to this is adamantine, the place where as the ancient texts say, water cannot wet, fire cannot burn, wind cannot dry. That place that cannot be touched by madness all around us, ever. In this place, you simply are. They may attack the body, but they can never even come close to approaching that sacred place within each of us, in every person that makes up all of humanity. There is this place. Now, as women, we can now focus on being the wisest and most compassionate guide for humanity. We can stand as a voice, not embattled, but in the simple truth. In the simple truth. As a woman, we are also Mother Earth, and we know the voice of wisdom. And we know that when people gather together in circle and gather together and stand and say, enough, no more killing, no more attacking one another, no more blame, no more shame, enough. Just as a mother, if the children over there are fighting, walks over and says, stop it, it's enough. This is the time for us as women to stand and say, enough. However you can conceive of doing that in any one day, I invite you to do it. And I added a couple of phrases and sentences to this, and Ava Park wrote at the end, you will be okay. See the long view. Woman always prevails, for we are the power and the glory forever and ever. I step back just a little and I offer to you something that I've said repeatedly in the last couple of days. Even when it looks so dark and so hopeless, when we come together and we stand in the simplest of truths, not against one another, not looking for who to blame, but to stand and say the simple truth. No more killing, no more wars, no more attacking each other. Stand together and ask this one question. How can I contribute to the world that I want to live in today? Let that be your practice. And then one day you'll wake up and that is how the world will be.